Hello and welcome. This is Kristen with the Online Selling Show, and I'm here today to give you some basis as to how my business has dealt with all the minutia of paperwork in my business. I could show you some screenshots and I may put some up here, but truthfully, some of them are very geared to me personally. I wanted to just talk about the overall view because a lot of dealing with paperwork is going to be a personal thing. People are going to come at you and talk to you and tell you about their way of storing stuff, and that's fine because it works for them. What I found was you're going to have to take a little bit of here, there, and everywhere for things to work for you. My primary business, if you're not familiar with me, I'm Kristen from the Online Selling Show. I started this channel for a new eBay business that I started in June of 2024, but I have been 23 years now selling online. My primary income comes from a wholesale business model, which means I'm buying for various brands and vendors, and I sell them on various platforms for a markup. No different than a Walmart, Target, even those mom and pop stores around you is how that happens. But I'll give you some background. As I got started in eBay, Amazon didn't come on board for quite a few years, and I was dealing with PayPal at the time, and I felt this need. I would save like every PayPal receipt that I would print off, and I found that after quite a few years of dealing with that, in about 2013, it was like, wow, I had boxes and boxes and boxes, and you know what? I never looked at them once, not once. So every one of those, I wound up paying a company that shreds documents. They took all of that out of my attic space and shredded it off for a fee and got rid of all of that. Amazon coming on board, they themselves have a lot of ways they've very much gone through various changes, and finding any documents and reports and things have gotten much more easy with them. I've never really felt much need with them to have to give backup to particular sales for them. So that was never a problem. From there, it got into me having a lot of packing slips and invoices, even so much as correspondence and stuff. So the other aspect evolved into me having now like letters regarding taxation from other states, my state's taxation, correspondence from various people that I deal with. Like there's things like I rent storage containers. They would send me a monthly bill, insurance policies, invoices, packing slips, you name it, I have it. And it got to a point about 2 to 3 years ago that I had been dealing off and on through various bookkeeping systems and bookkeepers. And I was wanting to come probably about 5 to 6 years ago, realizing when I got into the company that I'm using now. One of the things I should say is I've never had a bookkeeper that has been at my location or even in the same state as me. The current one that I have is several states away, and I needed to find ways to deal with that correspondence over the internet. I have tried forwarding on emails to them that have my invoices in that. I wound up finding out that a lot of my bookkeepers were not doing things that they were paid to do. Just did another special episode on firing VAs, and that should have been included in there. Is that, I have professionals that I have dealt with virtually as well, and yes, I found out that my bookkeeper was one that was not doing the things that I was talking about. So we are evolved to the process of what we have currently that seems to be working with a lot of trials and errors is the point of what I'm getting at. And one of the things I found was I really didn't want to be in a business of managing paperwork. I didn't want to have to worry about it. And yes, there are things like, keeping your tax returns. And even that, my CPA sends it to me in an encrypted message that it has our, password on it, and I can bring it up. I've used that to pass it along for various points of like needing loans or just an assortment of things, and I can usually send them in a PDF format. So I haven't even had to physically need my tax return anymore. How did I manage that? Well, one of the things I've learned is I've used Dropbox as the form of me going in and downloading all of the paperwork into an assortment of files in their services. I may pay them $10, $15 a month for that service, maybe. I don't even know. Truthfully, I should. And then I found that I wasn't really, I like the paperwork being there, but I found that it wasn't on an overview what I needed, because I would have my bookkeeper say to me something like, it'd be March, and she'd say, well, you made this payment in August, and I never got the breakdown of what the shipping was. Can you give me the invoice from like August 3rd? Or she would tell me, I have this $1,541 invoice, and I need to know how much of that was shipping. And I would go into the folder, Dropbox, thinking I was so efficient. I'm just going to go in there. And it's all these invoice numbers, and I'd have to be opening up all these different all these different links to see where this amount came from or where this time period was. So I created a Google Sheets that I created that worked for me. And what I wound up doing was I have an overview page that is all of my brands, and it is an overview so that I can use that page for all the various years. And it's an accumulation of what I've spent for them on the years. And then at the bottom of it, I have tabs for every brand. And if I need to go to a specific brand and I need to find something for August 3rd, I go to that tab for that brand. And in there is a section by section by section by section of all the invoices compiled individually out for the year. So for 2024, I will have August 3rd in one column for a date. The next column will give me the overview of the $1,541 was the value of that invoice. Another column will have how much was spent on product. Another column will say how much was spent in shipping. There is a formula in there, so I only have to put one of them in. So if it was $1,541 and $541 was shipping, the other column will do the deductions and say, okay, she spent $1,000 on products and $541 on shipping. Obviously, I wouldn't have spent that much per se. I then have another column for the link for the Dropbox. So if they need to see that specific invoice for whatever reason, they can hit on that link. We'll take them over there to the Dropbox account if they need to actually see it. And then I also have it accumulated up at the bottom for the total amount of all the invoices for the year. And then I did another formula for a percentage to see what is that year's total average of the shipping I spent by that vendor. Now, why is that important? Because like, let's say COVID, I started having vendors put on a 5% amount on the invoices for shipping because of all of the dynamics of what was happening for them to get the product shipped here, because of what was happening with the strikes at the ports, or them just trying to get product out of China and things like that. So it was a very good idea, because like I have one brand that I'm finding on average is costing me 20% to ship my goods here. When I am pricing my goods, I need to additionally add 20% on the wholesale cost to know that I'm getting efficiently priced for profiting on that. And that is the cost of shipping from the vendors to me, not me shipping it from me to the end buyer. Let's be clear on that. So that overview page will have the tab calculation of what I spent on product fed back to the overview page. So when I take that overview page and I look at brand XYZ, I can see where I have been spending on product for that brand. Is it a growing brand for me? Am I spending more every year? Is it up, down, up, down, up, down? Is it a brand that's going declining for me? That's an overview page just for that. Then like I said, the tabs are broken down. It is just one large, big spreadsheet. And every year I just keep dropping down below the year before. And that gross of the amount for the product feeds back to the overview page. Again, it's just in some very basic formatting and Excel spreadsheets. So that goes over there. And it's been great because all I have to do now is share that Google Doc with my bookkeeper. And now I do not have to sit there and keep providing data to my bookkeeper. Realistically, my bookkeeper doesn't really need all of that, because now when she starts to break down whenever she wants to work, she just needs to go into my document. And when she starts seeing me pay vendors, and sometimes, like I said, it could be me paying for a various service, she can go in. If it was me paying for the purchase of a certain software, if she wants to see how she needs to categorize that, maybe it's advertising and it's not, some kind of maintenance, she can go look at the actual invoice, and then if she still has questions, ask me. So this gives her all of the information that she needs, no different than what I'm looking at, she can look at. And it, like I said, there's various questions that she needs on a bookkeeping side that I don't get. And for me, it also gives me, like I said, a budget of what I've spent for the year, how much that brand. So there's so many analytical things in there. There are people who are probably going to say to me, well, you should be using this inventory management service that'll give you that same information, or whatever it may be. I don't know. But here's the thing. I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with. I'm retiring in 3 years. There's only so much more I want to invest in time and software anyway. This works for me. When I get, inventory in, I put it in my inventory system, what the inventory number is associated with that. So again, if I need to go see, let's say for pricing, or maybe even double checking, like I said, I got 6 in, and did I really get 6? That happens because we don't find stuff all the time. I can go right back to that invoice and say, okay, here it is. It's right here. It says I was invoiced for 6 of this product because I use their invoice number in my inventory management system, so I can find them invoices very quickly. This, in a sense, works all around. It is the most efficient way I've dealt with stuff. It allows me to not even have to keep any paperwork. I'm able to get that stuff in there. The only problem that I'm having to face is, again, keeping track of notes for damages or shortages from my vendors. And I have another system of how I deal with that. But this system has worked for me to keep my business paperless. Hope you got some good information out of this. If I can, I'll try to put some screenshots up, but I realistically know that what's working for me may not work for you. If you need some more clarification, by all means, leave some comments down below. I'll see what I can do to help you. Again, some of these things I've done for calculations are very, very basic things, and maybe it'll work for you, maybe it won't, but it hopefully gives you some thought to thinking about how to get yourself paperless, how to get yourself out of all that minutia of having to manage and babysit and all of that stuff with paperwork. It's made me feel a lot more lighted in my burden of what I have to keep track of. It makes me more efficient, and it allows me to get out of this loop of having to constantly answer to my bookkeeper, and she can handle it all on her own. She needs a phone number to contact one of my vendors, she just brings up an invoice. If they need to find out from me that they can speak with her, I'll give them that in an email. I don't care, but at least she's got a phone number to start with, or she needs to verify something. She's got it. She's got it. So appreciate all your time and effort, and I'll say bye for now and catch you in the next one.